YouTube is Coffee on the vid. And check it out, man. Everyone, pray for Adam Devine. For those that don't know, maybe you know him better by Adam from Workaholics. You smell me? One of the dopest comedies, feel-good show. And they got their start right here on YouTube. The channel is still up. What was it called? Mail Order Comedy. I'll pin it in the comments or something like that if you ain't seen it. They did their thing on YouTube, sketch comedy. Got into the stand-up game. Boom, got a deal with Comedy Central. And I missed that show. For all the fans, let me know if you rock with the show too, your favorite episodes, all that. Let's discuss it all. And they started a podcast as well during the sickness, which was cool because I really did miss the show. So many great memories watching it with friends and loved ones and stuff like that, man. The time just keeps flying by. Nostalgia is everything. But it's been a minute since I listened to the podcast, so I don't know if this was covered on there at all or if they're still doing it regularly. But holy fuck, Adam's got quite the crazy situation going on where he was actually told that he was gonna DIE, that his life was slipping away from him.
I know at some point recently, because of stuff connected to your injuries, there was like, you only had to go a few blocks, but you could walk a block, then you had to take a taxi a couple blocks, or there's
it's been a nightmare.
Joints or groin, hip ligament, and back.
Yeah.
Like what's going on there?
They don't really know, and spasms all over, and I still kind of do. They don't really know. For a while, they told me I was dying. Literally, within this last year, they told me that. They told me I had this disease called stiff person syndrome, and that's when your muscles get so tight that you can no longer walk, you can no longer move, then your heart will stop beating because your heart is a muscle, and it gets too tight to beat, and then you die. And so essentially, the average life expectancy is 6 years for someone that has it. And they told me that I had that literally a month before my son, Bo, was born. And so I'm like, oh, great, now I'm going to die. He's going to be 6 years old. He's only going to know a crippled father. And then they told me, we think you might not have that. And then 6 months go by, then they're like, and it wasn't getting much better. And I could only walk a few blocks before I'd get so tight that I couldn't really move anymore. And they're like, we actually do think you have it. Go see the guy that coined the phrase stiff person syndrome. He's the expert in the field. And so I went and saw him. And he's like, you don't have it. You do not have it. He's like, this is from your accident from when you were a child. The spasms are a little unexplainable, but it could just be you got so tight that your body doesn't know what to do with it. So you're misfiring a little bit. And essentially, during the pandemic, I worked out so much. I was so bored.
You cycle all the time, right?
I have sort of the personality that I have to do things 110%. I can't just, when I do stand-up, I have to do it all day, every day. It has to be my life. When I'm doing a movie, I have to be all in on the movie, on the project. Whatever it is, I kind of...
Even if it's a favorite food or song.
Yes, if it's a favorite food, I have to... Like, I went through a rotisserie chicken string. I went through a rotisserie chicken phase. I ate so much rotisserie chicken. I ate it every day. One day, this is too much information, Graham, but whatever, let's get dirty.
So you hear that stiff person syndrome. It almost sounds like a goof, a joke, like haha, funny, but it's not. It's a real thing. You know what I mean? Like, Adam Devine he likes to clown around and have fun. I almost was like, is this a bit or something like that? Although I really didn't actually think it was, but in a sense, I was almost hoping it was. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to see Adam go through this. You smell me? But stiff person syndrome is a real thing, man. And I think it might be autoimmune. Comment anyone out there if you have an autoimmune sickness. I do myself. And it's so wild what autoimmune sickness is, or... I think that this is one, but if it's not, it almost sounds like one, where a lot of autoimmune sicknesses are like kind of hit or miss. They don't really know everything about it. They're kind of learning as they go. There's not really one thing that's consistent for everyone. It may affect one person one way, someone else another way. There's not really any treatments. They're just still learning about it. Doctors fight over, what really could work for autoimmune sicknesses and what can't, and what is an autoimmune sickness and what isn't. And, fibromyalgia, I think, is a autoimmune sickness. I believe it's classified as that. And there's doctors out there that say that it's just a hoax. It's some BS made up. Arthritis, some say it's an autoimmune sickness. Some, I think, don't say it is. But this stiff person syndrome is serious, man. Like muscles stiffness or rigidity, painful muscle spasms. Those are the two main symptoms, right? Then symptoms of stiff person syndrome can trigger after unexpected loud noises. Man, listen, I think I'm on the spectrum. Everyone too, hit the comments and let me know if you feel you're on the spectrum. I didn't know about the spectrum at first. I started thinking, man, they're going crazy with all this autism is trying to diagnose individuals. But then I found out about the spectrum, where there's variations of it in different levels and stuff like that. Everything from like a Rain Man type individual to someone who just has social awkwardness or odd social interactions and stuff like that. It's wild. And I actually think today was autism awareness or something like that. You know what I mean? And someone was tripping. I seen them put a status up. They were pissed because they're autistic and someone didn't wish them a happy autism day. And I was like, I thought it's all about awareness. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, loud noises get to me now, man. We're used to not so much. Physical touch or stimulation, unexpected loud noises, stressful events, changes in temperature. Those can all be things that can trigger it or make it worse. And you heard Adam talking about it, right? That the end result is your heart stiffens up and you DIE. Now, you see more here about the background of it, that it's rare immune mediated neurological movement disorder. So maybe it's not an autoimmune. Sudden and painful proximal axial muscle stiffness and spasms. I mean, you see all this stuff on here. Involuntary muscle contractions. Man, I have a lot of spasms myself. Weird ones too. It's wild. But yes, the heart is indeed a muscle. And you see on here benzos, baclofen, which is a muscle relaxer, which is hard as hell to stay awake off of, plasma exchange, and I don't even, IVIG therapy. I'm not even sure what that is, but you see, it's kind of a thing. They don't really know what exactly the deal is. And I guess Adam ended up getting some stem cell type stuff, and they're telling him at this point that he doesn't have it. And, thank God for that, but he's still going through it. And I guess they're tracing it now back to his childhood accident. And this is wild, man. And I think they might have worked this into a Workaholics storyline. Tap in, anyone, and let me know if you remember this being on a Workaholics storyline, or maybe his one cousin that got hit by a car, right? But you see what they're saying. As a kid, he was hit by a cement truck. And over the past 3 years, since he's been having all these issues, you heard him when the sickness jumped off, he started working out hard body karate, and they think that that's kind of what brought this on. But at the same time, it felt like maybe he's still worrying a bit that he isn't out the woods, even though the specialist told him that he's good. And I'm not trying to put those bad vibes out there, but you could see that he just clearly is still going through it. And that's what's rough when it comes to that kind of stuff. You want to find something that works, that can help give you energy, help you get through the day. But we all know them painkillers, man, them opiates, no bueno, you know what I mean? Unless you can control it and only take it at certain times. But at the end of the day, those that rock with this channel, No Coffee, is always telling everyone, man, leave those pills alone. It turns out bad all the damn time. But at the end of the day, right, he broke it all down. He said, I was hit by a cement truck as an 11-year-old all-star shortstop with very 11-year-old dreams of playing professional baseball. That changed one day when Devine went to a store with some friends. We were going to go get candy and also rip pages out of Penthouse. That was the real agenda. As they left the store, there was a miscommunication. One buddy was across the street. He yelled, "Come on," as in, I'm excited to go look at booze. The Workaholics dudes, man, with their crude, immature humor always cracks me up a bit. You know what I mean? And I heard, "Come on," as in, the coast is clear. Devine walked with his bike onto the road, right into the path of the aforementioned truck. They say the reason I lived was the bike took the hit first. I still slid 500 feet, picked me up under the first two wheels, and then spit me out. And the next 2 years, he had limited mobility, ultimately undergoing 25 surgeries. And 2 decades later, the co-creator of Comedy Central's Workaholics and star of the new raunchy rom-com Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. So this is back in, like, I think 2017 or 18, somewhere in that time frame. As I said, you know, it was kind of sad to see the Workaholics split, you know, the show. And I mean, they didn't split. They had that Game Over or whatever, Game Over, man, that came to Netflix. We've seen them in certain things, but they branched off and worked on their own as well. As we've seen Devine work with Zac Efron quite a bit. But there was supposed to be a Workaholics movie a couple years ago that was going to be a Paramount Plus project. It was greenlit and everything, but I don't know, it got deaded off. You know, so it's cool to see them all out here winning, getting booked, getting work. But at the end of the day, I like to see them come back and collab and all that, if you smell me. And, you know, that's why the podcast was lit too. But he says, "I'm glad that it happened to me." What? It really gave me a driving force. Confined to a wheelchair, Devine started writing down jokes, sketches. He would call into a local radio station and do characters. And a Chris Farley impression. So, hey, man, like that helped him find his new passion in comedy. You know what I mean? He was going to be an all-star shortstop, trying to be a pro baseball player. He became a comedian. And he said a lot of comics say that something traumatic happened in their lives that sort of pushes them in this direction. Some of their dads burned them with cigarettes and stuff. My dad just pushed me in a wheelchair, you know. It could be much worse. I just had a cement truck. And, you know, that's an interesting story, you know what I mean? And I don't know, now they're saying that they think all this flucked up pain and everything that he is, which originally they thought was stiff person syndrome. Again, I couldn't believe that was a real thing. But now they're saying it's the cement truck. And, you know, just when sickness jumped off, he started working out like crazy and tweaked some old injury from the cement truck. That's pretty wild. I mean, he's lucky to have survived it. And it's pretty crazy how it got him into comedy. And you heard what he was saying about a lot of other comedians, their dads put cigarettes out on them and ish like that. Like, comics are very interesting people to me. Very often they're like outcasts of society, or people that can't, you know, rock with 9-to-5s and stuff like that. You know, it's very interesting. Comment some of your favorite comedians, period, and those that are into comedy. Comment and let me know if you've noticed that as well, that comedians all seem to have like a story and, you know, something they've been through, and, you know, are kind of outcasts in a sense. I mean, some would say just actors, content creators and stuff like that. A lot of people with those type minds to create aren't generally your 9-to-5. But that's it for this one. Comment and let me know what you think. Subscribe. And I'm up out of here. Peace.